Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Arlisha Wilson. I am the chair of today's meeting. It is Monday, August 11th, and we're going to get started with the reading of the preamble. Madam Secretary?
Good morning. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning, this Monday, August 11th. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak on a particular matter have been considered. We've also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you for that. Can we call the roll, please?
Ms. Holzer?
Present.
Mr. Madison?
Present.
Ms. Roca?
Present.
Ms. Faith will be absent this morning. And Ms. Wilson?
Present.
Madam Chair, due to an unforeseen emergency for board member Faith, she's unable to attend this morning. So we need to announce for the appellants that with 4 members present this morning, you run the risk of a tied vote. In the case of a tied vote, the variance is denied. So at this time, the appellants may request a postponement to a future date when we would have 5 members. Otherwise, we would move forward with that knowledge that they run the risk of that tied vote issue.
Okay, so given that instruction, is there any appellant present who would want to postpone their matter until we have a complement of full 5-member board? If you do wish to postpone, let us know now. All right, hearing nothing. Oh, wait. Elise Robinson, I can see that you have raised your hand. Are you interested in postponing your case? Please unmute so that we can hear you.
Yes, might as well, since just keep postponing.
I think.
Okay, and so I can see that your case is related to 3848 West 130th Street, and it's your desire to postpone given we only have 4 members. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so we will go ahead and postpone this matter. Madam Secretary, which date do we have available where we'll have a full 5-member board?
It looks like the 22nd is the next, 22nd of September is the next available date.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Robinson, we will postpone your matter to September 22nd. That's calendar number 25-083. So we'll see you back here on September 22nd.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, you're welcome. Is there any other appellant present who would want to postpone given there's not 5 members today? All right, hearing none. Madam Secretary, do we have any other postponements or withdrawals?
We do, Madam Chair. Calendar number 25-134 at 1679 East 81st Street. Call My Ride owner proposing to include parking of 320 passenger vehicles, 315 passenger vehicles in a 2-family zoning district. The appellant has an unexpected issue that he needs to request for a postponement at this time. And again, with this one, I think we could put them on the 22nd because we would probably need 5 members for that one as well, Madam Chair.
Okay, September 22nd it is. So if you are here for the matter related to 1679 East 181st Street, we will not hear that case today. It will be postponed to September 22nd. Do we have any other postponements or withdrawals?
We have a withdrawal, Madam Chair, for calendar number 25-100 at 3318 Mapledale. Casa Vida LLC proposed change use from a two-family residence to a 12-person residential facility. They will need to reapply. There was a discrepancy in the application.
Okay,
So we may see them down the road, but not for this specific case.
got it. All right, so we'll take that off of our agenda today. We will not hear the matter that's related to 3318 Mapledale Avenue. So if you're present for that case, just understand we will not hear that case. Do we have any other postponements or withdrawals, Madam Secretary?
We do calendar number 25-139 at 1013 Edgewater Drive. The appellant is requesting a postponement for this case. He had also a unexpected scheduling issue.
Okay.
So I think which day. We may also want to put him, we might just load up the 22nd with.
I'm like, we're loading up that 22nd. Should we go to the next week?
I will be out on the 29th,
she
just
won't-
for the record.
Okay, so maybe not the 29th.
Yeah, so September 22nd.
Okay. All right, so the matter at 10103 Edgewater Drive will not be heard today. We're going to postpone that to September 22nd, 2025. So if you're here for that case, you can come back and see us in September. Do we have any other postponements or withdrawals?
Okay, let's see, 139, we just postponed 139, 25, 134. I think that's it, Madam Chair.
Okay.
We do have one issue. We might want to call, and we do have Councilwoman Spencer here.
Hmm.
We may want to bring Waterson Lake Apartments first. We do have one board member that needs to recuse, therefore leaving us one with just three board members.
Okay.
We might want to see
So-
if the appellant is interested in postponing as well.
Yeah, so let's address that one. This is calendar number 25-137. This is at 7407 Detroit Avenue, also known as 1422 West 74th. Do we have someone present on behalf of the appellant for this matter? Is anyone present on behalf of Cleveland Municipal Board of Education and Waterson Lake Apartments LLP?
Yes, Jeremiah Brooks from Stantec.
Okay.
Of the job.
All right, so your case is now up. We do want to let you know that we have one member absent and we have one member who needs to recuse herself from this case. So that means you only have 3 board members who will decide this case. And given that information, you can request a postponement if it is your desire, or we can go forward with your case. Which one do you prefer?
I also have Derek Tillman on with me. I think we'd like to just move forward and see how it goes.
Okay. All right, well, we will do that. So let's go ahead and call the case. I know that you're recused. I'll ask you to read in the case and then you'll abstain from your vote as normal.
Sure thing. Our first case is calendar number 25-137. This is at 7407 Detroit Avenue, parenthetically 1422 West 74th Street. Cleveland Municipal Board of Education and Waterson Lake Apartments LP proposed to erect one 5-story mixed-use apartment building with first-floor retail and one 2-story 6-unit apartment building with public green space on a parcel located in a K2 local retail business district and a B1 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. And with that, I will hand, Mr. Madison, are you going to do the oath? Yeah, I'll hand it over to Mr. Madison for the oath. And for the record, I am recusing myself from this case.
Thank you. If you are present in the room, can you please come forward? At this time, we'll swear you in. If you are online and you are speaking at this case, just raise your hand. And we'll also swear you in following those in the room. So please come forward. Hit the green button on your microphone as well. That way it will activate the microphone.
And you can bring a chair up if, there's only 2, so please.
right at this point.
Yep.
Uh-huh, yep, yep. You can bring chairs from the front row if you need to.
Oh, I see. Getting us all together.
Mhm. One big happy family. Come on up. There we go. Thank you for that.
All right. We'll start here. I'm going to read the following information and then you will all raise your right hand and respond with I do. State your name, spell your name, and provide an address for our record. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? We'll start right here. Just please raise your hand, state your name.
There is one there.
Okay.
There's one there. Uh-huh.
Oh, thanks. Nate Law, Cleveland City Planning, 601 Lakeside Avenue. I do.
Thank you.
Anthony Bango, Department of Community Development, 601 Lakeside Avenue.
I do.
Oh, sorry, I do.
Thank you.
Fran Donato, 7325 West Clinton Avenue, resident. I do.
Hold on one second. I'm going to ask you to spell your name for us.
FRAN and last name DI, capital DONATO.
Thank you.
Jenny Spencer, Cleveland City Council, 601 Lakeside Avenue. I do.
Yeah.
Christine Edie, CHRISTINE. Edie is spelled EADIE. 7301 West Clinton Avenue, resident. I do.
Morning.
Morning.
Mike, is this working?
Mhm. It's really for the. Mhm.
Oh.
Mhm.
So it's not for amplification. Okay, good morning, Michael Graham, MICHAEL, Graham, GRAHAM, address 7323 West Clinton Avenue. And I do swear the oath.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to you next.
Good morning, Travis Peebles, TRAVIS PEEBLES, 1350 West 76th Street. I'm also the owner of 7427 Detroit Avenue, the adjacent property to this parcel. I do.
Thank you. This time we'll move online. Is there anyone else before we transition that would like to speak on this case in the room? All right. All those online, we'll start with you, Derek. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply if I do, state your name, spell your name, and state your address for the email address for the court reporter.
Sure. Yes, I do. Derek Tillman, DERRICK. Tillman, TILLMAN. Address 1435 Bedford Avenue, Pittsburgh, PA 15219.
Thank you. We'll move over to Chuck.
Yeah, my name is Chuck Ackerman. That's ACKERMAN. I live at 7313 West Clinton Avenue in Cleveland. I'm a resident and I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this case?
Jeremiah Brooks, BROOKS. I do, and address 3454 Perrysville Avenue, Pittsburgh, PA.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair. Please use the microphones that are in front of you. You can put them closer to you as well.
I think we have one more person joining us.
Is there someone else that's joining us that would like to speak on this case? Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it's okay.
Trying to play. Adam Davenport, I'm with City Planning as well, so 601 Lakeside Avenue.
Thank you, Adam.
All right. We'll now go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This property was originally zoned general retail in 1929, and in 2014, it was zoned local retail and pedestrian retail overlay. And the portion that's in the two-family district remains in the two-family district since the enactment of the code in 1929. In our records administration office, we found that an elementary school was established on the property in 1968. Parking lot and playground were established in 1970. There are no variances on file for this address, and probably the most important information is that in 2015, December of 2015, a permit was issued to demolish a structure on the site.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Can we have legal, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Appellant is requesting use variances and area variances from the maximum gross floor area and parking requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you for that. I will now turn to the project team. I believe, Jeremiah, you are a part of the project team. Do you want to get started or do you want to defer to one of your colleagues?
I believe Derek's going to do a brief introduction and then I'll take over from there.
Okay, very good. Go right ahead, Derek.
All right. Good morning to everyone. Thank you to the commissioners from the Zoning Board of Cleveland. Would like to talk briefly about our project known as the Waterson Lake Apartments. It is a ground-up construction project of 136 units, along with 10,000 square feet of retail. We went through a pretty robust RFP process to ultimately be awarded this project. And the intent of the project was always multifamily. With the project also, there was a pretty robust community engagement process, and which kind of got us to where we are today. Jeremiah is going to talk more specifically about the variances that we're requesting. But we understand that this is a community. We respect this community. We went through this community engagement process, really, made a lot of changes to get to where we are today. And we understand also that this is new, in some manners, for where this project is located. And we understand with that, there may be some anxiety or some hesitation. But just want to reaffirm our commitment as part of this team that we are really committed to delivering a amazing project, being a long-term good partner, and just really being good parts of the community as we look forward. And that has been demonstrated not only in our responsiveness with trying to make changes as we have all throughout the project to get to this point, but also within limitations that we were able to, but also just even with the local amazing dream team that we put together of local architects, engineers, property managers, etc. So just part of our commitment to delivering a project that everyone can be proud of, while also delivering, great mixed income. So with that, I'll pass it over to Jeremiah to go into more of the, project specifics related to the variance.
Great. Thank you. And thanks for everyone's time today. So as this project, it was stated, we can go to the next slide, please. Was in response to a City of Cleveland RFP for public housing, an affordable, high density. And our variance today is to have the split zoning parcel viewed under the LR K2 and or as a UN5, which was omitted from the recent overlay, which would kind of resolve our 4 items that we'll review today. So the project that we'll review, again, in response to a RFP that was issued by the City of Cleveland for the redevelopment of the Waterson Lake Elementary School that was raised in preparation for this project and RFP. Next slide. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Good morning. There's a slight delay in the presentation, so please just be patient.
Sure, no worries. As we wait for the next slide, it just outlines our interaction with the community outreach and landmarks to get our approval over the course of the last year. As Derek had mentioned, we've gone before those boards several times, did several iterations in response to some of the commentary, while responding to what the community had said, while also maintaining the project for financial viability. Next. So in summary, the 5-story building does begin at Detroit and come down 74th and then diagonally cut across our site as an arbitrary extension of Clinton Avenue. And we felt that was important to have that line be in the site to kind of divide the higher portion of the building and then step down with the green space, parking, and townhouses that
Hey,
would fall in line
Jeremiah,
with.
I'm just going to pause you for one brief second because I do want to make sure that we have your visuals as you present, and they're
Sure.
troubleshooting now.
Okay.
So just give them one quick second.
Got it.
Are you here for this case?
Yes, you are.
Oh, right, you wouldn't know because you're just walking in. That's right. So this is at 7407 Detroit Avenue. So we're going to go ahead and swear you in. Do you intend to give comment?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, let's go ahead and swear you in. I'll let Mr. Madison do that.
Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, nothing but the whole truth?
Yes.
Please
Take the microphone so that,
Say now.
uh-huh.
Oh, wow. No.
No, you're just going to swear in now and then we'll come back to you.
And then, yes, can you
Wait,
please
say your name again?
Cassandra Nolan.
spell your name?
CATONDRA
Can you please state your address and spell your address for the record and state I do?
6809 West Clinton, WESTCLINTON Avenue, ABE dot. Cleveland, you're welcome.
That's fine.
And I do. All right, thank you. Welcome.
Did she say I swear?
Yeah, she said I do. Yeah.
All right, how we doing over there with our visuals? Still giving us a hard time?
Transfer.
Okay. No, it's okay.
What's what many? Like I'm not three days. Yeah.
Madam Chair, Shannon Leonard, just letting you all know that your microphones are turned on. So if you're whispering and don't want to be heard, we can hear you online.
Thank you for that, Chief. All right. All right, I think we are in there now. Jeremiah, you want to pick up where you left off?
Sure. Great. We can probably skip to the next one. Those were just context photos of the site itself, surrounding area, and this is just a overview of the massing of the building, how it is along Detroit Avenue, and then takes a stop at Clinton Avenue and scales down where the green space and townhomes are. And next. This was a aerial of the site from the other end, as well as some adjacent buildings within context of this project of height, just for reference, along the Detroit Shoreway and in the adjacent neighborhoods. Next slide. And our site plan. So to kind of walk through this project a little bit, with Detroit Avenue on the right hand of the screen, the blue portion of the floor plan is our retail space that addresses Detroit and the corner of 74th Street. That is the 10,000 square feet of retail that we have discussed. That's separated by some walkout units that go down 74th by a drive lane separated from the retail. So that way we have some at-grade parking kind of below and to the side of the building. Our main residential entrance to the affordable housing and workforce housing is at that corner of 74th and Clinton Avenue. And what we've wanted to do there was also provide our green space as the extension of Clinton Avenue with a walking trail that connects Clinton to 75th Street on the opposite of the site. So our site premise was not only to provide some amenities to the residents of the building and the project itself, but also as an outreach and provide some green space that was previously used in the elementary school, wouldn't necessarily be lost to the community. So we still wanted to maintain those community amenities there. So we have the green space, playground, and the walking trail that connects to 74th. And then our 6 townhouses are on 74th as we move to the page left. On 75th Street, the red portion is our community center, which would be available for the residents and open for parts of public gatherings. And through the course of the project, we have increased parking. So we do have a large surface lot. And this was the final iteration as we went through landmarks to kind of balance concerns of parking, concerns of green space. And I know that our playground is still one of the contingent items to work through with landmarks as we go through. But the footprint of the building and the massing had been approved through that 1-year process with community and landmarks process. Go to the next slide, please. This was our transportation demand management program so because it is a 100% affordable housing project, that is where the bulk of our points come from, with 40 points to meet our required 60. And then through the course of the project, we've done a lot of amenities to encourage alternate transit, whether that be our indoor bike parking. We do have some incorporated kiosks for wayfinding, whether it be walking directions, transit routes, things of that nature. We also have a public bicycle repair station that is outside of the the secured bicycle room on 74th Street. And also a large component has been the outdoor play structures and green space that is available to the adjacent community. Next slide. This would be our elevation, just to kind of set for the renderings to follow. On the first floor, and especially in Detroit, the first 2 floors, brick masonry, kind of following a more historic rhythm of punched openings and structure, with each of our retail spaces with a small recess where a small vestibule for multiple retail components along Detroit. And then at the corner of Detroit and 74th, we have a small covered entry for a larger corner kind of keystone retail portion. Above the brick masonry, we do have cement board paneling and large windows to kind of keep in nature with some of the adjacent larger buildings, but also maintain some residential components in that regard. And the next slides to follow will be renderings and context of the site. So this is from across Detroit, looking back. The existing savings and loan building on the right-hand side, then the bike shop that's there in the middle, and then our building here on the left. It is slightly set back from the property line just to accommodate foundations and step away from the existing adjacent properties. And it is the 5 stories that you see here. We break it down so that way we kind of align our first 2 stories with adjacent buildings, the 4 stories to align with the height of the 3-story building adjacent, and then with our 5th story on top. Next slide. Again, just some elevations as reference. I think the renderings to follow will probably be more telling. Continue to the next slide. This is from the corner of 74th and Detroit. Again, the goal was to open up that corner to make sure there was a pedestrian-friendly retail component to work with the pedestrian retail overlay for the district. And again, this is the 5-story building that starts to go down 74th Street. We can go to the next slide. Again, just a referenced elevation here for the elevation on 74th Street. We can keep going. And this is the view from Clinton Avenue. Again, our goal was to have the termination of Clinton Avenue, not into the side of a building, but more open it up to community and amenity space intended for everyone to use. So as you're coming down Clinton, we do have a small entry vestibule for the residential component of the building. And then between the multifamily building and the townhouses that are seen on the left here, we do have our outdoor green space amenity with the playground set back from the street to create a little distance there for some safe play. Next slide. Again, just a elevation for reference, but we can go on to the renderings. So just a couple more views. Again, more of the green space that kind of exists between the buildings, and starts to tell a little of the intent to step down the scale of the buildings into a more traditional neighborhood scale that is adjacent to the building. So kind of as we have gone through here, our main goal of the entire project was to create a high density affordable housing infill per the RFP and to not overwhelm the entire site. We did want to stop at that access through the site of Clinton Avenue and maintain that as a hard line not to go past with our taller 5-story building that is within the LR K2 or the UN5 district. And then as we go south of that, scale it down to not exceed a 2-story building. So that way it ties into the community itself and also kind of create space between the two projects or between the two buildings for those community amenities, green space, and playgrounds. So I guess in summary of the project, we are looking for the project to be viewed as the LR zoning and or the UN5 from the form-based code that was, it is adjacent to both properties across the street. The parcel that was allocated for the RFP was omitted from the form-based, which we would be in line with under the 68 feet, where we top out at 60 feet to comply with the LR zoning that's along Detroit now that would stand, and hope that we have the variance to allow the site to be viewed as the LR and not as the more strict of a 2-family zoning that we are currently being held to.
Okay.
Based on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Is there anyone else from your project team who would like to speak? Or are you guys all set at this point?
I believe that's it.
That's it? Okay. All right. I will now turn to all of you people in the room. And I think we have gentlemen from the city. Do you all want to go last after we hear community input, or do you want to go now? You want to go last? Okay. All right. So then I will start with you. The only request that I have is that one person speaks at a time, so we can't have, people speaking over one another. And then if you could just briefly state your name before you give your comment so that our court reporter knows who's talking. Go right ahead.
Thank you. And we did have another neighbor join us.
Okay. Welcome. We'll swear her in as soon as we get to her.
Thank you. My name is Fran DiDonato, again, resident. I live across the street from this property. I've lived there for over 20 years. I'm also a former attorney to this board, so very familiar of your work and what is required. We heard a little bit of the history of the project. I'd like to give a little bit more. This property actually has been a school site for over 100 years. And it has provided community benefit to the entire community for over 100 years. And when Detroit Shoreway Community Development, whatever it's called now, went through this process of like, what would this be? This has been going on for over 10 years because we knew this site was going to close. And the former council person wanted to put in market rate single family homes because that is what he said was not in the neighborhood. We all pushed back from our community and said, no, that's not what we want. We do not want market rate single family homes. We do not want to be living across the street from, at that time, $500,000, $600,000 homes. We helped make this community strong and good. My husband and I moved to this neighborhood because of the affordable housing. And we wanted to have a site that provided the most community benefit to the community. So I just want to state that because it's really important. This in our world right now, people want to make everything black and white. You're for this, you're against this, and that is not what this project is about. Then when our new council person came into office, she knew that this site was going to be redeveloped, and she created this huge process around engagement. So we have been engaged over and over and over about this project. And what came forward was a group of benefits that we wanted to see on this property. Housing being one. Also, green space, that was the one that came out the most, which is seen here very, very much the least. This has been a place for the people on 75th to mix with the people on West Clinton and 74th. We know our neighbors. We wanted a space where the people could continually come and combine. And so there was many different things that were part of this RFP. And I might just point out that density was only 5 points total of the 125 point RFP. The differential between 55 units and over 125 units was a differential of 4 points. So this project of 125 points, we were looking for 120 other points of benefits that would be on this property. So I just would like to set that stage because we were anticipating that this project could actually be a huge gem for the city of Cleveland to show how you could do equitable redevelopment. And I really chafe at the point that they say it has to be so dense to make money, because we know, because we live in a community with a lot of affordable housing, from 58th, where our West Clinton starts, to a little bit more 85th. Detroit Shoreway Community Development has over 300 units of affordable housing, and we'll have a new one of 55 units just 2 blocks away from here. So this property in and of itself would increase the affordable housing by like a third. We have it mixed in. So we are not, well, personally, I'm not against affordable housing. It is the size and the scope of this project. So a couple things I would like to say. One, I did not receive notice in the mail from this project. And I believe, living directly across the street, I should have gotten notice, so I do not waive my right to notice. I would like that noted for the record. And then my legal issues with this. A neighbor who across the street from me got the notice, sent it to me, so I was able to read it. I've been abroad and I just got back last night, so I could not put my thoughts into writing. But 330703, the use has to be the most restrictive to the 2-family. I do not believe that the developer has made his case as to why that it has to be this dense and this strong of a project. To go from 2-family in the back portion to this other part, where the blue part is actually has always been green space. We have never had a complete streetscape on Detroit there. It was an old school, and that was a green space for people to be in the community. I'm not opposed to it having a complete streetscape. I just want to let the record stand that there has always been green space, community space on this property. And to limit it to the scope that is between this huge building and a parking lot is not really what I would consider a space that the community would want to use. 3305.04 square footage. It's almost 3 times the amount of the square footage that's allotted per the code. So the code, I don't know the numbers, 52,000 or 52,000 square feet of the lot can be developed. This project is 144,000 square feet. That is what my main concern is. That is huge. That is 3 times the amount that is allotted in the code. So if the board is going to grant a variance, I really would like to understand what is necessary to develop this property, because this property could be developed a whole slew of ways and you can make a whole bunch of money. And the developer does not own the property. It's actually the school district, which will be changing it to the city of Cleveland. So the city of Cleveland really doesn't need to be making money off of this property. And the process that we've gone through really should be about the community benefit, in my opinion. If the city wants to make money off of it, that's their decision. I don't work for the city of Cleveland.
Okay.
And my 34907 with the parking, I believe the parking code has changed. If it was under a different code, we would need different parking. But what is required by the code is that they do traffic studies, which have not been done. And the amount of traffic that this will cause, I don't believe that everyone's going to be riding their bike. We live in the city of Cleveland. So we're talking 136 units, probably 200 to 250 in terms of residents. Most people have cars. Let's say that, 100 people have cars. There are not 100 spots here. And I live on 74th and West Clinton. So along 74th, there's a lot of traffic. I can barely pull out of my driveway, which pulls off onto 74th. It is very difficult to get out of my driveway. People, you can do the counts, whatever, but maybe the time I'm going out of my driveway is whenever there is traffic. But the point being is that there's a lot of traffic on that street. It's loud, it's continuous, and having, again, the entrance to the building right there where there's the T, a very poor design. So those are my legal issues. I do not believe that, well, really, the property owner, again, is the school district, that they will be deprived of economic use. There's no practical difficulty for them. 2 blocks away, there's a 55 unit project of affordable housing. So there's no, and they're going to say, well, this is the money that we got from the state. This was not what the community intended, to have this level of affordable housing. You can, I guess, make affordable housing work with 55 units because they did it just 2 blocks away. And all the other projects that are along Detroit, and that's just Detroit because there's some on Madison, they're all over our neighborhood. Nothing is this big. And then they want to show the height of all the other different projects around. Those all have buffers around them. They're not right up against single family homes. So I just don't think that this has been done well. I think we have been engaged. And the problem is that we have been engaged. And so you see the residents here, we're engaged because we have been wanting the best for this property. And then to get this as the result is extremely disappointing. I hope the board does not grant the variances. I do not believe that the standards have been met, and I'll pass it on to my other neighbors.
All right, thank you for that. Just state your name and go ahead and give your comment.
My name is Katandra Noy. For the record, I want to say I fully support affordable housing and want it to be in our community and continue to be there. What I am opposed to is any variance for this project. The density level far outweighs fitting in with our neighborhood should be and has historically been. I sit on the Historic Design Review Committee and have spent thousands of volunteer hours trying to preserve the historic character of the neighborhood and have objected more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times to the density levels of this project. And I continue to object to it. The developer has not acted in good faith in terms of providing a project that will benefit both current and new residents. The traffic that will come from this project will overwhelm both the existing and future residents. The placement of that opening where you have people come in at the corner will result in traffic jams. There has been no effort by the city of Cleveland to understand our issues. They are merely trying to put all of the affordable housing for the whole city on that one particular building. We have been fighting against what should be our partner in our effort to bring reasonable and responsible affordable housing to a community that welcomes it. That's all of my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll now go to Christine Edie.
Good morning. My name is Christine Edie. I'm a resident at 7301 West Clinton. I'm also a volunteer for our West Clinton Block Club. We submitted a letter as public comment that was able to get co-signed by over 20 different neighbors that highlighted our concerns with the variances that are proposed here today. So I'm going to briefly review those. I'm not going to read them. But I wanted to mention that, again, the incompatible land use here, seeking to override the zoning protections that exist to preserve the character and residential scale of neighborhoods like ours. To approve the variance would undermine the zoning code and alter the character of our established and historical neighborhood. It is a development that is substantially out of scale with the neighborhood. Like was said before, if you look at that height reference map that was proposed that showed all the large buildings around, it did not highlight how everything else around that development is of 2-story single family homes. So it is within that context that this building is being proposed, not to match the scale of other large buildings. These are development that is within a residential district. Having a hard line at West Clinton is not because simply of a desire to keep in scale, but also because of zoning here. It is the residential scale that is there. And it is a mismatch to say that they could have extended this development all the way, because that would be an even larger variance of the zoning code. It is a very large building. And I think that one issue that was brought up was the how this site was not included in the UN5 zoning. And I think that was on purpose. This was not an accident to simply omit it here. It was because the city planners, I'm assuming, and the community wanted to keep a scale that was in line with the residential character of the neighborhood, and it was really important. Finally, I want to just, again, highlight that our neighbors and our community have consistently engaged in this process because we are committed to a greater Cleveland. And part of that is welcoming new neighbors. It is welcoming new development, but that is when it is in scale, responsible, and responsive to what the community is asking for. And I think it would be really an oversimplification to look at the people who are here as simply a bunch of NIMBYs who want to not see any development here. That is not the case, but we do want a development that is responsible and will fit into the community well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Graham? Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Mhm.
But I agree with everything that's been said so far by my neighbors. Start with that. I live next door to the DiDonato family. I also didn't get notice, which I'm entitled to. So I don't know what's going on with that. Like, you know, when you don't get notice of something and you have to show up on your own, it's a little frustrating. I thank Councilwoman Spencer for emailing me, but I didn't get any written notice of this meeting. So, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but yeah, there's some rules that you all know that are supposed to be followed in terms of what's going on with this type of proceeding, and they weren't followed. So there's been talk about engagement.
I'm inclined to inquire. Give me 1 second. Madam Secretary, can we talk about notice and what was sent out and whether these two who have stated they have not gotten notice were on your list?
I can confirm that Ms. DiDonato's name is not on the list, as well as Mr. Graham. Well, actually, let me double check with Mr. Graham's. So I would have to research what happened. We know we use a map. We don't have a fixed radius. I would have to look into it to see where the error was, but yeah, they are correct. They were not notified. Well, let me confirm that Graham is not on here. I assume that he's probably correct.
Yeah. So my concern is if these two did not get notice, if there are others who did not get notice, will there need to be an opportunity for rehearing? And I don't want us to spend an hour hearing this and then we have to rehear it due to this problem with notice.
Well, Madam Chair, of course, that's up to you. The city could speak to the community engagement that's happened. We do post signage and we do also post it on the website. So
okay,
it is there. There is nothing in the law that says the specific radius. It is just affected neighbors is the language that's used.
Okay.
in the code.
So it's your position that the affected neighbors have been notified according to what you've sent out?
Yes, it seems that the directly adjacent, again, I would have to look to see what happened with the mapping, but it seemed as though the directly adjacent affected neighbors were notified.
Okay, understood. If you could just look at the map and then provide some testimony about, you know, notice that was sent, just so that we have that on the record, I think that'll be helpful. And then meanwhile, I'll allow you to continue your comment.
Yeah, you know, I can see the DiDonato's house on the screen.
Right.
I can see it.
Let's not be affected.
So, you know, take that as you will. You know, what do I know? But I would think if it's on your map, she should have got a postcard. But I'll continue on. Thank you, Chair. So, you know, there was talk about the community being engaged. The community was engaged and ignored. They were engaged and ignored again and again and again. There's some false narratives here, okay? The city has in its possession, and I don't know if that's been forwarded to you, 3 years ago, April 2022, I think the report was delivered. Thank you again, Councilwoman Spencer, because she did the right thing and said, let's see what people are interested in for this site and what their community priorities are. That's documented. And if you were to read the report, I'm sure you probably will on follow-up, we can provide it to you. The issue of density was inquired into. And the supermajority of respondents said, we do not want more density. 66% of people do not, who responded to that community survey. It's in the report, in the hands of the city before they issue their RFP. Okay? Number one thing people wanted, more open space and green space, which would be consistent to the Century Plus. 1909, I think, is when the school opened. That corner there where the blue massing is on 74th in Detroit was always green from the creation of the earth, okay? Always green. It was 3/4 of an acre of green space and trees. And here's some more narrative for you. When that beautiful historic 1909 building was owned by the school district, people in the neighborhood wanted that redeveloped, preserved, it was landmarked, but through benign neglect, the school district let it fall into such a condition that it had to be torn down. But that's okay because the government owns it, okay? If any of the residents here let that happen to their house, what do you think would have happened? I'm sorry if I'm getting fired up here, but you know, I've been in the neighborhood for 25 years. My family, when they immigrated from Ireland, I can see their house on the map there, okay? Their single family home on West 75th Street. So I know a couple things about the neighborhood. My dad went to that school. So, you know, the narrative that we've been engaged is true, but what's missing from that is that what we have asked for has been ignored because the agenda of the mayor's office is density. Now, people have a right to expect their government to listen to them and implement their priorities. And I'm going to, you know, take a look through these factors that are on your website. I went through them. There's nothing that says what the city wants on these factors. That is not to be considered. Okay? It's the neighborhood and the effect on the neighborhood. And we are the people of the neighborhood. We are the city in this case, not the planning department and not the mayor's office. We are. And we have said what we wanted and we've been ignored. And people have protested. We shouldn't even be here today. Okay, I'm sorry to waste your time. These protests have been ongoing for years. This all came up at landmarks and at community meetings, et cetera, and plow ahead, beat down the community, ignore them, and do what we want as the city is what has happened to date. That's why we are here today. That's why people are taking off of work, closing their bike shop, and coming down here to speak to you. And that's why I'm frustrated. I am. And, you know, I'm trying to keep it cool. Of course, the ladies from the street are much more calm and polished than me. But, you know, I apologize. Yes. Thank you.
Woosah.
So that all needs to be put on the record. Okay. And the narrative that is true is that people, you move into this neighborhood, you know, there's affordable housing. You know, there's people who aren't rich. And that there's 350, soon to be over 400 with Karam Senior Living of Northwest Neighborhoods housing. Permanent. And there's Eden. And there's, you know, all these developments. People support that, but it has to be reasonable. And I don't know how we got here today because this is not reasonable. Okay. That's why the zoning code's here. The zoning code, again, since the creation of Euclidean zoning nearly 100 years ago, this is two family. When you move into the neighborhood, that's your expectation. You're allowed to have expectations based on the law. Isn't that why we have the law? What's the point of the zoning code if we're just going to dump it here? I don't get it. You know, if this were a reasonable thing, people would support it. NRP sent in a proposal. Nobody talks about this. It was half of the density of this. NRP is a national developer, and they're based in this city, not Pittsburgh, by the way. They wanted to develop it. Didn't choose that. Well, I wasn't part of that process, but they seem to think it was financially viable. So that's another false narrative. What's another false narrative? This is completely false. In public meetings, people have said, we don't have this level of units, we can't get tax credits. That's a lie. You can do a smaller development and still get tax credits. So when you say that to the public, you're lying. Think NRP doesn't know a thing or two about tax credits? You know who they are. This whole thing is bogus. Now I'm going to go through the factors because every single one of them is against this project. Literally every, I pull it off the website. Can the property yield a reasonable return or beneficial use without the variance? Are you kidding me? You think this land in this neighborhood couldn't be beneficially built upon without this level of density? Yes, of course it could. Of course it could. They're just jamming density on this site because that's their agenda as a city. You know, here's a rhetorical question for you. How many lots are in the city land bank? 18,000 lots. 18,000. And they make you think that they have to put every single affordable unit on this corner. That's insane. It's actually a problem that we have all this land in the land bank. What are they doing about that? But they want to shove all this on one site. I don't get it. 18,000, 6,000 acres. Is the variance substantial? It's already been established by my colleagues here, my neighbors. The answer is yes. 300% almost larger than what's allowed. Again, I'm a layman here. I just live in the neighborhood. I would think that's substantial. That's a fundamental change in character for the neighborhood. It's a fundamental change. And yet we're acting like no big deal. You go on to the next one, which is character. Is the essential character of the neighborhood substantially altered or adjoining properties would suffer substantial detriment? Yes, again. Okay? The character of the neighborhood off of Detroit, and they're pushing this back. I'm going to walk out my front door here because, again, I can see the DiDonato's house there. I'm right next to it. And this is going to loom over me. And you know, that's just one factor. We'll talk about the safety issues because those are legit. But the essential character of the neighborhood would be changed. It's single family. It's not dense like that. That's meant to be for main quarters, and they're pushing back big time.
What would you say is the substantial detriment as a result of the development?
Well, let's talk about that. West Clinton is a baby boom, honestly. Okay, let's start with that. There are probably 75 to 50 kids growing up on that street. And there's kids over on 75th Street too. And I'll tell you, West 74th Street is a death trap for traffic. Again, I do this. I sit on my porch and I've had a clicker and I've counted the people who blow through that intersection, that stop sign. Like, I won't let my children cross the street there. I'm not joking. You know, people think I'm insane. I'm so paranoid about them getting hit by a car. But ever since the 73rd underpass opened, and the roundabout at 74th and Franklin, you can just zoom up and down that street. It's a great cut through and there's no traffic lights to stop you. If you want to get down to the Shoreway, just zoom on down. You go all the way. There's not a traffic light in your path until you get to Lorraine. Down to Ridge Road, it's people, the traffic study's not done. Why are we here if the traffic study's not done? This is insane. Why would you want to, they're putting you in a horrible position, board. They're asking you to make a decision without the information you need and without notice to people that you might want to hear from. What are we doing here? Yes, it's dangerous. And people talk about the parking. I'm not about like, do I get to pull up in front of my house and park easily? To me, it's about traffic and cars. And it is, again, a false narrative that people who do not have a high income don't have cars. Okay, we all know that that's a lie. Okay, that's actually insulting to people who don't have high income because they can't rely on public transit to get to their job all the time. They need a car. Now, what might be a pretty old car, but they need a place to put it because they need a way to get to their job or get to the daycare or whatever they're doing to do their business. And so my concern is more cars in the neighborhood, cars circling around looking for parking on an already highly dangerous. If you gave the microphone back to my neighbors here, they would echo what I said about the traffic there. Okay. And it is, the city could probably fund the general fund by writing tickets at that intersection. There's so many people who just blast right by it. So that is, just that alone, the density. See, I mean, I'm not crazy about that building height. I think it is out of character and I would object to it. It is not right. But there's a reason why we have these laws in place. This is not one level up. This is, I think, at least 2 levels up from what has been there for 96 years. So that changes the essential character of the neighborhood. Would it adversely affect the delivery of governmental services, safety, water, sewage? Well, you know, safety in the city is always a challenge here. We don't have enough police officers. What about the What about the hardscaping of what is right now an open field? What about water sewer? What about stormwater runoff? There's no plan for that. I haven't even heard that discussed. Here's another thing that, you know, I'm gonna stop soon because, you know, like you're gonna stop hearing me because I've been going on so long. This land that they're gonna give, I don't think this developer is expecting to pay for this land. You turn the mic over to them. I think they're expecting a $1 transfer here on land that's probably worth a couple million. But the land is obtained by the city by giving away parkland. They gave the school district acres of parkland at Cadell. And now that's gone forever. And now this land is going to be hardscaped. When did the city get in the business of that? That is nuts that they would do that. That is outrageous that you would give away our parkland that somebody through an estate gave to the city in perpetuity to hold for the public good, and you're gonna turn it into a hardscaped mega development that's not even owned by a nonprofit, much less the city. It's owned by the private sector, and they're only restricted until those tax credits are up. So when those are open, you don't even know if it's gonna be affordable housing anymore. They can turn it into whatever they want. And again, I'd like to say to the developers, this isn't even your fault. The city went along with this the whole way and pushed you into this. So if you think I'm bashing you, it's not you. But that's outrageous to me that you would give our parkland away, and then you're going to give this land away to the private sector. When in the history of the city has this ever happened before? Meanwhile, you've got 18,000 parcels in a land bank. Was the property purchased with knowledge of the zoning restriction? Of course. Is the predicament feasibly resolved through some other method? This is a self-created predicament. Is the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement observed and substantial justice done here? No way. I'm sorry I went on so long and I'm done, but like this stuff needs to be surfaced because there is a false narrative about this. People do support affordable housing, permanent supportive housing. Okay, the most aggressive form of getting people who are homeless needs. 8301 Detroit, by the way, how many units there? I think 55. Okay, that's Eden. And Karam Senior Living, 55, not 150. Okay, that's what this neighborhood has supported, respected, embraced. And when we dare question this, by the way, the units went up. The units went up from the first time this was proposed. They went up. And the narrative again, and this is, I do take issue with the developer on this. We need this for the tax credits. That's false. You could do a smaller development and get tax credits. I'm done. Thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to me.
All right, we'll now go to, yeah.
To reschedule. Okay.
Okay.
There, so these individual parcels.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank
I just want to
you.
make sure your
Thank
mic
you,
was on.
So the project area is made up of a bunch of little parcels. Apparently they didn't consolidate them all when it was under the school. So there was an error. So I can confirm that folks to the south, as well as where Ms. DiDonato is directly across the street, they were not notified.
Okay. So thank you both for raising this issue of notice. So I think that is, you know, a deal breaker for us, right? We want to make sure that everybody who is entitled to notice has the proper notice. Now, the next thing, I know that you want to give your comment, and you're free to give your comment, or you can reserve it for the next hearing. If you give your comment today, that means you don't have to travel down here again the next time and say the same thing,
Boy, that would be
because
great
it will
for
be
me.
on the record. Okay, do you want to go for it and give your comment?
Yeah, if no one minds, I do
You're the
appreciate-
last one.
I
I'll allow
appreciate
it.
the opportunity to
Absolutely.
speak.
Go right ahead. State your name and go ahead and give your comment.
My name is Travis Peebles. I own and operate Blazing Saddle Cycle, and I own the property at 7427 Detroit. I am also a member of the neighborhood. I have been for over 20 years, so I've seen a lot of things happen in our neighborhood, and I agree with all of my neighbors for the most part. It should definitely be stated that I do not oppose progress or affordable housing or development, any of those things. I like to see our neighborhood grow. I just want to see it done responsibly. A little bit of history about my piece of property. I've owned it for 10 years. It is the oldest standing wooden structure on Detroit Avenue between downtown and the Lakewood city limits. it was older than the school. It was built in 1891, and I have taken great lengths to bring it back to what it is. So the size of this structure and the proximity of it definitely threatens my property, mainly due to the fact that when the legacy portion of Lake Waterson was demolished, the foundation was left in place to keep the stability of my property and the integrity of it. If this structure is indeed pushed through and they excavate that, it will most certainly affect my property. So with that said, I'm very fearful for the size and the excavation of that. Not to mention everything else everyone has pointed out, the fact that 5 stories would absolutely loom over my building for all time to come. I'm definitely, again, not opposed to development, but boy, the proximity of this, the size, the magnitude, the proposed management of this project definitely has me concerned. So, without going through all of my specific concerns, I feel like that's pretty much what I would like to say today.
Okay. All
Thank you.
right. Thank you for that. So that concludes all of the community members that were on my list. I'll now turn to the city. Do you guys want to reserve your comments until the next hearing, or do you want to speak today?
Speak to
I did not sign it today, so it's out of turn. I don't mind.
Did you want to give comment?
I would have a couple of points to give and I wouldn't take too long if that's okay.
Okay, we've got to swear you in before we do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you just please raise your hand? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? Please state your name, spell your name, provide your address, and say I do.
My name is Divya Sridhar, DIVYASRIDHAR. I live at 6602 West Clinton Avenue, the same street we're talking about, and I do.
Thank you.
Did you get notice of today's hearing?
No, I did not.
Okay, understood.
Thank you. My comments might be quick. There are 3. The first being,
One or the other. I don't think you need
oh,
both.
I didn't know what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. My comments today were threefold. One is about density. Clearly my neighbors have talked about it, and I think about it. For the record, I'd like to say I'm in 100% support of affordable housing. That's why we are all here today. We want to see more of that in our neighborhoods. Density is the concern, and I bring up density for 2 reasons. One, the traffic study. Last year, around this time, our neighborhood has changed. It looks great. We have a lot of people coming in and out. We already have a lot of cars on our street, cars coming in and out of our street, not to add the I live closer to West 65th. Last year, around April, my husband did have an accident on the street, hit by a slow-moving car. We do have traffic issues. We have parking issues. There is lack of visibility, and that definitely raises concern when we add more parking, more units on the street, and the parking that will come with it. When we talk about wanting our kids to grow up in the neighborhood, in streets, appreciating cities and being comfortable in them. Part of it is making sure that we are creating that space for them to appreciate, enjoy, feel safe, and keeping, in line with that. I think it's important for us to consider what the impacts of parking, visibility, traffic, safety will be, and considered well before we move forward with something like this. Again, I'm not going to belabor the point of density because I think it adds, people should have the right to choose their modes of transportation, and thinking through what access we have in terms of public transport And private transport, I think, putting those in context is extremely valuable. The second thing that is very near and dear to me is maintenance. We all are thinking about the front end of affordability, the shiny part of how we are going to get affordability in. But we know that as a case, whether it is our tree planning, whether it is our infrastructure maintenance, whatever it is, over and over again, we've talked about how we don't have money to maintain some of these things. And when we're trying to meet costs, we're talking about trying to cut down the cost on the front end, whether it is using materials fast and simple, using things that need to go in place quick. I am a big fan of wanting to move forward, providing safe, fast construction, but they are not quality materials often. Wanting to make sure that our maintenance is really roped in long term. We're not thinking about it as something that terminates at some point. So keeping that in mind, I think it's really important for us to see, because when we're housing people in these homes, the burdens that they will face, this adds to it after, the shine wears away, after the, water pipes begin to leak, the questions that you will have for management to come over and over, that causes frustration, that causes movement, that causes transient. I think that is something irresponsible for us to do if we do not have a solid maintenance plan for something this scale. Which is why I brought in, concepts of sustainability and solar, not as a way for us to think about it as, a green neighborhood alone, but as keeping affordability, reducing burdens to keep people in place. We need to think about affordability long-term, beyond the point of the 10 years, beyond the point of, keeping our tax credits. So choosing the right things, choosing our number of units, the size of the unit, everything commensurate to how we want the neighborhood to look, not now, not just to solve a problem for now, but how it is going to look and maintain its character 40 years now, that people want to live here because it is good, because people feel like they're not pointing, having a development coming in the neighborhood and the people who are already living there feeling the pressure of those people coming in. That is not what we want. We want a welcoming neighborhood. We don't want additional pressures that come from these, unintended consequences of progress and development. Just to state for the record, I think I will go back and say affordable housing is one of the most central things that we need to have in the neighborhood. Again, thinking about it in a wholesome way so that people can stay in place and grow in place. Thinking about development that sort of cross-subsidizes or benefits each other. Cross-subsidizes sounds like a wrong way to say it, but really thinking about it from, again, the traffic perspective, the maintenance perspective, being wholly grounded in what the design is going to look like beyond the first few years of realizing those benefits is what I'm going to push for, and state that others in the neighborhood my community have stated everything else. So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'll go back to,
I apologize. There is one resident who is on screen. I don't know if they officially requested comment. Chuck Ackerman is on screen. I just saw him waving his hand.
He did already. He's already been.
Yes, I was sworn in.
Okay, so we're gonna reschedule this hearing. Do you want to give your comment today, or do you want to reserve it for the next hearing?
I guess I would briefly say today, well, number one, I did not receive a notification either. For what it's worth, it's and I live 4 days away, or four doors away. But overall, I heard everything everybody said. Still, at the end of the day, I fully support this project. I hear the concerns about safety and density, but in parking. But to me, the need for affordable housing in this neighborhood is so great, and this may be the last opportunity for such a project, given that the city land is available. If the developers were to go try to acquire some other land in the neighborhood, it simply would not be affordable. And that goes along with the increased rentals in the property caused by these other developments. It's making it worse and worse to find affordable housing. As far as the parking, I don't see it as an issue. I'm not going to make a judgment as to how many cars people will have, how many will ride bikes. I do know that almost everyone at West Clinton has a driveway that can hold, at least 2 cars. That's where I park my car. Occasionally, if I park it in the street and, someday maybe I won't be able to have that option, but that's not a big convenience to me. I think the bigger threat has been the development along West 65th in Detroit, which, we do see creeping up the street, people using West Clinton for parking to get to the Capitol Theater or whatever. And again, that doesn't bother me. That's the nature of living in an urban neighborhood. So overall, I'm in support of the project. I hope they are able to work out the concerns with the neighbors. But at the end of the day, this could be our last shot in this neighborhood to develop quality, decent, affordable housing with good management and good ownership. And I say this from, decades of working on this specific type of project. I've used for nonprofit organizations this very same type of financing with tax credits and other money from government entities. And there's a lot of challenges, and it's a puzzle. And I think these developers are doing the best they can, given the financial situation. And we know that subsidies or monies for supportive house or for affordable housing have declined and are going to decline over the next 4 years at least through federal cuts. One of the funding sources that this project intended to use to help with energy efficiency, as I understand, was cut almost immediately by the present administration. So it's going to be harder and harder to develop affordable housing. So this may be our last shot. So that would be my comments for this meeting.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Chuck. I'll now turn back to our members from the city of Cleveland. Do we want to give comment today, or do we want to reserve comment for the next hearing?
This is Nate Law with Cleveland City Planning. We'll reserve comment for the next hearing. We would just request at the next hearing that we can maybe go through our presentation after the developers restate their case.
Okay, absolutely. Can do. Same hold true for both of you? Yes? Next meeting? Okay. All right, very good. So to the project team, Derek Tillman and Jeremiah Brooks, just so that you understand, we are going to reschedule this for a rehearing. It has come to our attention that there's been a problem with the notice for this meeting, which is really important to us. We want to make sure that we notify all of the members or the neighbors who surround this project. So we're going to get that notice resent out, and we're going to have a new hearing date. Madam Secretary, can we establish a new hearing date today?
Yes, actually, September 29th. Unless we have another board member that would be absent. I know Ms. Ms. Holzer is out that day, but she is recused herself
anyway.
so-
Yep. Okay. All right. So we're going to bring this back September 29th. Everyone who has given comment today, you're free to come back down on September 29th, but just understand that your comments are in the record. So if you can't make it back down, you don't necessarily need to come back down. All right. So we'll recall this September 29th, and I'll see you all again then. Thanks so much for being here. I'm sorry. Councilwoman, did you want to give comment? You wanted to reserve your comment until the next hearing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will reserve my comment, but only to say that I have asked the developer to, and it's another ask of the community, and I apologize for that because the community has been engaged again and again and again and again. But the property management aspect of this project will be essential.
Okay.
And I've asked the developer to come and present to the community. I would recommend that happen before the next hearing date. So that,
Okay.
but they need to come and speak to the community about, to my resident's point, not only how will this be built, but how will it be managed? So,
Okay.
and also
Understood.
the traffic study needs to be presented by the city. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We'll see you back here September 29th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. I wanted to recognize Council President Blaine Griffin is online for the case at 9803 Quebec Avenue.
Okay. All right, we're now going to call the next case. This is calendar number 25-135. This is at 9803 Quebec Avenue. Do we have an appellant present for this matter? Yes, okay, come forward. While you do that, we'll read in the case. Ms. Hoser?
Our next case is calendar number 25-135. This is at 9803 Quebec Avenue. Cleveland Municipal Board of Education, parenthetically Bolton School, owner proposes to erect an electronic monument sign in a multifamily residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are, is it one? Four?
Four. Yeah, it's misnumbered.
Is it one with three parts?
Oh, that's a good point.
We'll go with one with three parts. And with that, I will hand it over to Mr. Madison for the oath.
Thank you. For those who are present for this case, we'll just swear you in. Please raise your hand, reply if I do. You will state your name, spell your name, and then provide an address for the record. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? We'll start here in the room and then we'll move online. We'll start here with you, sir.
I do. Charles Dorsey, 9803 Quebec, Cleveland, Ohio, 44106.
Can you please spell your last name?
Dorsey.
Thank you. We'll move online.
Lavita Parker, representing Council President Blaine A. Griffin, 601 Lakeside Avenue. I do.
Thank you. We'll move over to Heather. Heather, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
All right, here we go. How about now?
We can hear you.
All right. My name is Heather Mullen. And what other information do you need? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you're going to reply if I do, state your name, spell your name, and provide an address for our record that you do swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you. I do. My name is Heather Mullen. I'm at 1083 Brooks Industrial Road, Shelbyville, Kentucky, 40065.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present online that would like to speak to this case? With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. We'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. There are no variances on file for this address, and we found that the Bolton School was erected in 1970. I think that's all that's relevant. Thank you.
All right, legal, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a variance to allow an electronic message center to display information pertinent to a community facility use on the premises. To obtain the variance, the board must determine that the sign will provide community information, that the sign will not adversely affect the character of nearby residential properties, that the sign is for a community facility, that information displayed on the sign shall be limited to information that pertains to the community facility, that each display of information shall remain static or fixed for a minimum of 20 seconds, and that the sign shall be either a wall sign or a freestanding sign with a maximum area of 30 square feet. Alternatively, the board may approve a sign that varies from the above requirements if it determines that the sign will meet a community need without adversely impacting the character of nearby residential properties.
All right, thank you for that. I will now turn to the project team. Are you here on behalf of Bolton School?
I am.
Okay, you want to tell us about your project?
Yes, we are currently, we would like to have a digital communication for our families at Bolton School. I'm the current principal at the school. And communication has been a challenge with our families. And I believe that having another means of communication outside of the building would be very effective in us being able to provide information, in a timely manner to our families.
Okay. And can you talk to us about what information you'll provide on this sign?
We'll provide information about parent-teacher conferences. We'll provide information about any community events that we have. We have family community engagement activities. We also have mentoring programs and other activities throughout the year. And we just want our families to be aware of those. Some of our parents come into the building frequently, so we're able to provide them with that information in hand or via our IVR system. But we just wanted to have another means of communicating with them as well.
Okay, and the information that you will display on this sign, is it limited to information related to the school?
Well, we have a lot of community partners that work with us. So if there are events and activities that we have that are in partnership with them, then they will be also communicated using that sign. But it's all related to our school. Everything.
Related to school, okay, good. And then the information that you will display, is it your intention that it will be static or fixed for a minimum of 20 seconds?
That's correct.
Okay.
And I've also had I don't know if I.
Go ahead.
I had a couple, I had some of the community members who received the notice. They stopped by the building last week and had questions about it. And what I explained to them is that I will have control of the times in which the sign is displayed. So I'll be able to shut it off and it won't be running throughout the night, which was one of their concerns. So it will be shut off at maybe 7:30 from dusk to dawn. So I won't have it on, running consistently throughout the night, disturbing the neighbors. And on one side of the where the sign is, there's actually an apartment building. On the side of the building, you can't see. It's just a wall, so it's perpendicular to the school. So all the houses, it's not directly facing the houses, so it's not blaring into their windows or anything like that.
Okay.
So
Okay, that was my next question. So
Okay.
thanks for addressing that. Does that conclude your comments?
that's it.
Okay, all right. Heather Mullen, you want to give your comment at this time?
Yes, I'll just echo what Dr. Dorsey said. We our signs actually have a built-in ambient light sensor. So even if the school did choose to run it through the night, it will dim from dusk to dawn and shouldn't cause any issues with any of the residences nearby.
Okay. All right, Ms. Parker, do you want to give comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that in behalf of Council President Blaine A. Griffin, that he support this project. I think this is a very good to have a new sign for the Bolton School, and he support this project wholeheartedly.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Parker. Any questions from the board? All right, any comments from city planning?
Good morning. My name is Xavier Bay, representing city planning for this case. We're in support of the variances, and it's great to hear that there's opportunity to dim the sign or even turn it off throughout the night. That was going to be something that I would add as, recommending a condition. But yeah, we're in support of the variance. It doesn't seem like there's going to be much, negative impacts to the neighbors across the street. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Bay. I'll entertain, Madam Secretary, please go right ahead.
I have a letter of support from the Fairfax Renaissance Development Corporation. Denise Van Leer writes, Fairfax Renaissance Development Corporation supports the Cleveland Board of Education Bolton School to erect an electronic monument sign in a multifamily residential district, and the appeal for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances, Section 350.13G. FRDC owns the following adjacent properties: 2318 East 97th Street, 9908 Quebec Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you.
Okay, I should ask, do we have any other correspondence?
No, we do not.
Thank you for that, Madam Secretary. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, motion to approve calendar number 25-135 based on today's testimony.
All right, thank you, Mr. Madison. Do we have a second?
Board Member Roca, I second.
All right, thanks, Ms. Roker. Can we call the vote?
I was just going to add that for the record, the sign will only be on from, we'll say, dusk to dawn, loosely 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yes.
Does it sound good? Okay.
All right.
So, Madam Chair, are we granting this conditionally? Then would we like to make that a condition of the variance? Or?
Mr. Madison, was there a condition on your motion?
I'll support the friendly amendment that came forward as a condition.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Mr. Madison,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Calendar number 25-135 is granted conditionally. We'll ratify it next Monday and we will send you a letter. You can contact us next Wednesday for further instruction.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, we're now gonna call calendar number 25-132. Is Raymond Perez here? Okay, I'll have you come forward, and Ms. Holzer, you're reading the case, please.
Our next case is calendar number 25-132. This is at 1944 West 48th Street. Raymond Perez, owner, proposes to establish a type A daycare in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Mr. Madison for the oath.
Thank you. At this time, we'll swear you in. Please be sure to state your name, spell your name, provide your address as well for the record, followed by I do. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give today is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? We'll start right here with you.
My name is Raymond Perez, RAYMOND PEREZ. My address is 1944 West 48th Street, Cleveland, Ohio, 44102. And I do.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name's Jocelyn Perez. I'm Raymond's wife. I'm the one who's trying to establish the daycare. Our address 1944 West 48th Street. And I do.
Thank you. Is there anyone online that would like to speak to today's case? If so, please just raise your hand and we will swear you in. All right, seeing none, Madam Chair. Yes, if you would like to speak for this case as well, please come forward. And you can just bring a chair. Yep. Are you speaking as well? Okay, yeah, please come forward.
Okay.
So
yeah,
for the
get
two,
close.
please just state your name as well, similar function, state your name, say I do, provide your address as well for the record. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
So my name is Andrea Hudson. I have been a patron? I don't know. We've gone to Joe soon after since she's opened. This is my daughter who is there with us. My son who's 4 is not here because he wouldn't want that. But my address is 3191 Golden Gate Avenue, Rocky River, Ohio, 4116, and I do.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Brianna Burns. My address is 5444 Millbrook Road, Bedford Heights, Ohio, 44146, and I do.
And just for the record, spell your name for us, please.
BRIEONABURNS.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over back to you, Madam Chair. That's
Okay.
everyone. Yep.
Thank you. Let's go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a complicated history on this case. We discovered this on Thursday of last week, that there is a variance on file from 1996 for this address. Previously, there are two technically, Madam Chair, in 1972, this board granted a variance to change the use to a 3-family residence. And then in 1996, this board denied a variance to establish a daycare center at this site. And this is in calendar 96-185. We did not have a lot of testimony that made it into the resolution. It states that the evidence established that the property has been located in a 2-family district since 1929. They said that granting the appeal would be detrimental to the general welfare of the neighbors and to the value of their properties. Being refused the appeal, it's the standard language, being refused the appeal, the owner would not suffer unreasonable hardship, so on and so forth. We were able to get the site plans over to you. They're very similar, Madam Chair. It doesn't seem like they're adding any, site plans are similar and the floor plans are similar. And I should also read the board's rules and regulations. Any appeal which is identified or identically or substantially similar to a previously filed appeal, it will be considered a refiling of an appeal. Any appeal to modify an existing variance will also be considered a refiling of an appeal. And this is in the board's regulations, rules and regulations, which was also sent to the applicant last Thursday. The board will dismiss any refiling of any appeal for a variance as res judicata unless the applicant demonstrates a basis that would prevent the application of res judicata, including changed circumstances, substantial new relevant evidence that was not available at the hearing on the prior appeal, or that the application of res judicata would create manifest injustice. The rules require that the secretary would notify the applicant when the appeal has been deemed a refiling, which we did on Thursday of last week. The applicant may file with the board an affidavit or any supporting documentation demonstrating a basis which prevents application of res judicata. We did receive a written response. I believe the applicant would be speaking all of that today, and we did email you that as well, a copy of the written response. It says the affidavit or supporting documentation must be filed within 30 days of the date when the secretary mailed the notice. And again, this was communicated last week. The board may dismiss the appeal if the applicant fails to submit the affidavit, which is not the case in this case. And that's all that we have for the rules and regulations.
Okay, so you mentioned there was a previous variance that had been denied in 1996. Was that an application for a type A daycare or was that an application for something else?
Madam Chair, I can confirm that the application said daycare center. The language type A was not mentioned. Unfortunately, we don't have, I wasn't able to pull the transcript. This was from 1996, so it would be on a cassette tape. So we did not have time to do that. However, in the resolution, they didn't mention a type A daycare. It did say daycare center, and it was repeated once or twice in the language. So,
Okay. All right, Chief, I see that your hand is raised. Do you have comment?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Shannon Leonard, Chief Zoning Administrator. So I will clarify for you all our daycare zoning. So daycare zoning is in the a daycare is generally first permitted in a residential district if it's located not less than 30 feet from any adjoining premises in a residence district not used for similar purpose and subject to the review and approval of you all. That includes day nurseries and kindergartens. So day nurseries and kindergartens are essentially daycare centers. We don't differentiate between whether you're a type A or a type B or an actual center outside of the zoning code in terms of where you're first permitted. So a type A and a type B have requirements. So a type A daycare centers, including type A, are permitted uses in all retail districts without the Board of Zoning Appeals approval. All other site requirements, parking of one space per staff and setbacks if outside of TOD and permit application procedures must be observed. And just to give you an understanding, is the state of Ohio revised their section as of April 9th, 2025, under Senate Bill 208, that a licensed child care program means any of the following. It's a child care center licensed by the Department of Children and Youth pursuant to this chapter, a type A family child care home or type B family child care home licensed by the Department of Children and Youth pursuant to this chapter, or 3, a licensed preschool program or licensed school child program. So it's really up to you. A type A family child care home means the permanent residence of the administrator in which the child care publicly funded child care center is provided for 7 to 12 children at one time, or a permanent residence of the administrator in which child care is provided for 4 to 12 children at one time. or if 4 or more children at one time are under 2 years of age. When you're counting for children for the purpose of this division, any children under 6 years of age who are related to the licensee, administrator, employee, and who are on the premises of the type A home shall be counted. So in essence, whether it's a daycare center or a type A home, those are looked at as the same in our district, in our zoning code. So I just wanted to give you the reference to the Ohio code that we use as well as our zoning code, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you for that, Chief. So what I'm hearing you say is basically considering a type A daycare, it's the same as a center, which means this would be the same request as was made in 1996 and denied.
It's up to you to make that determination. A center is really anything over the 12. The type A and the type B means that the owner lives in the home where they're providing the services. That's part of their permanent residence. And so without the testimony or knowing the testimony that occurred in the previous case, it's really hard for us to say whether they were seeking a center, meaning that it's not residentially owned, meaning the operator doesn't actually live there, or if it's actually a type A home. But either way, a type A home, daycare, and a daycare center are treated the same in our zoning code as it pertains to residential districts, just the difference being the title.
Understood. Okay. So I think our question is still outstanding then in terms of whether this is the same variance, because we don't know exactly what the variance from 1996 was. Please.
So again, Madam Chair, we do have the ability to go back and listen to the cassette tapes to hear the transcript, and I could get back with you. The applicant did have some testimony. I'm not sure if you wanted to hear from her, but she did state that her, I think it was a previous relative, did have was asking for a daycare as opposed to a center as opposed to an
Like a type
residence
A.
in-house.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Okay, and so you're the person who's related to Iris and Concepcion.
That's my in-laws who both have passed, my husband's parents.
Okay, so then I'll ask this to either of you who knows. Did they live in the property at the time the daycare was being facilitated?
Yes,
They did live in the property?
yes, we did.
Okay, and do you know how many children they served in the property by chance?
It was no more than 12. I know that it was 8. I believe it's so hard to remember back
Yeah.
back in the night, but it wasn't like
A long time ago.
it wasn't. We've been in the house since 1986. And my mom ran the daycare from probably like the late 90s to like the mid 2000s.
Okay, and your mom lived in the property the whole time
Yes,
she ran the daycare?
upstairs.
Okay,
Upstairs, we lived upstairs, and then she used to just come down and open up for daycare.
okay, understood.
So it wasn't like a big set, like 15, 20 kids. It was just sometimes it was just like 3.
Okay.
You know,
So it
wasn't
sounds to
many.
me like this may be the same application. So the problem that we have as a board is we have to honor the decision that was made in 1996. And that decision in 1996 was to deny the operation of a daycare in this particular property. So with that being said, you can give us testimony that demonstrates that there are some circumstances that have changed since that 1996 denial. And if that is the case, then we can go forward and consider your request. But if everything is still the same, then we would have to stick by that 1996 decision. So which one of you would want to speak to that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a discrepancy back in 1996 because at the time my mother-in-law was in the process of getting a center on I can't recall the street. Was it Bridge?
Bridge Avenue on West
On
54th.
Bridge Avenue, West 54th. So she had it planned out. She had the facility in her hands, ready to go for a daycare center. Now that fell through. And the reasons why that fell through, was it the neighborhood? Or somebody bought the building?
It was planned to just build condos.
So that's where we're like, okay, did she want, was it for a center? Is that why? Was she gonna move out of the house and try to make the whole house, which is nearly almost 3,000 square foot, as a center, we don't know. I think that that probably was something that they considered. And like they said here with the type A home, so the difference is it's having 12 kids or less. A center, even though a center and a type A home is considered the same zoning, which I didn't know for like the neighborhood, it's still only 12 kids. So it's under 12 kids. It's never more than that. I've been in the home. We've been Ohio City residents all our lives. Almost, I'm 40 years old, so they've been in that house. He's grown up in that house. So things have changed and evolved in the neighborhood. I know that one of the concerns for the variance that was stated here was a 30 feet from a resident district required.
Before we get to that, I want to just make sure that we are on the point of this issue that's called res judicata.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is you have to tell us that there are some changed circumstances or that some new evidence that we should consider today that we didn't have before us in 1996. So speak to that for us.
So the new evidence that I would say when it comes to the variance that they received before was the construction. Next door, our next door neighbor, they completely remodeled the house, redid the house and everything. Our house is on a double lot. So we have a private driveway. We have it's all privacy fenced in, which I don't think that in 96 they had that. It won't be a traffic jam because parents can come right up to the driveway, drop off their children, pick up their children. So that's the difference. I don't know if they had that back in 29 years ago in 96 when she did that. So, because it is unclear about like the variance. However, the house that's next door to us that they remodeled and redid, we're actually over the 30-foot buffer that you need from house to house. We're actually 31 on the left side and we're 34 on the right feet on the right. So that gives us a lot of room to have children and not have so much traffic jam when it comes to dropping off and pick up. And not only that, but affordable childcare in the community. Now, everybody, for myself, I don't want my children to just be in a center. You know, I would like them to be in an in-home, more personal, educated, smaller group setting. And not everybody wants centers. And there's a couple centers around our neighborhood also that has changed the neighborhood. But I think the change for us was 29 years ago. We have enough space. We have a double lot fenced in, and the buffer that you guys we're required to have as a type A daycare, which is 34 feet one side, 31 feet on the other.
Okay. And so is it your position that that didn't exist in 96 when she made this application?
Yes, I believe that it didn't exist.
Okay. Okay. Did you have something to add in terms of the changed circumstances?
Yes, there's more families moving in. You know, the case where all them people were here, you know, the guy even mentioned there was, you know, the baby boomer era, you know, there's a lot more kids moving into the area, families moving into the area. Just the area is getting bigger, you know, as far as kids and more developments. You know, there's really not much of a change of the house structure. You know, the house has always been the same since 1900, as big as it is, and the yard, you know, and the feet. There's just, my thing is just the family moving in, you know, like it's building. That's the difference to me.
Okay.
I mean, there's bars, restaurants, you know, getting permits around the corner. You know, I don't know. I know that's on has nothing to do with us, but that's on retail street. You know, we're trying to help the community. You know, be affordable for working families that cannot afford centers. And she's one of them. We had these, you know, she calls me the maintenance guy, you know. I was just there to, I always work, so I really never dealt with the kids, you know, but just high and by.
Okay. So then I will now Oh, Chief, I can see that your hand is raised.
Madam Chair, I could also state that the size of the lot was the same in 96. It looks as though it was a double lot as well at that time. It's a 60 by 132 lot. Lots are
Okay.
the same size. And the code section that was cited in 1996 did also state that the 30 feet was required at the time, and it's from the premises. And I believe Ms. Leonard may be able to speak to that further. It's not the structures on the property. I believe it's the parcel lines, but I will defer to Ms. Leonard.
All right, Chief, do you have comment?
I can just, the 30 feet is parcel line to parcel line. So because every adjacent property to their parcel is zoned 2-family, and we don't have record of them being a daycare, whether it's type A, type B, or daycare center, they are required to be that 30 feet. So they do need, that's the variance that they need at this location.
Okay, understood. All right, so I'll now turn to the board. We should take a vote on whether res judicata should apply in this case. I'm not sure if any board members feel that they need more information from the 96 hearing, or if we're prepared to go forward with a vote today. If there's any questions regarding the res judicata issue, please pose those questions at this time.
Madam Chair, I do have a question to the appellants. Have you had a chance to, one, reach out to your city council member prior to bringing this case forward, just as it relates to any feedback they might have provided on today's hearing?
So yes, I've contacted my city councilman and I've emailed and called and haven't received anything back. However, I do have letters of support from each neighbor that lives directly across the street and to the sides of my property, as well as like community support letters. I have them all here for you guys if you guys would like to see them, or we're just gonna hold off.
Thank you. And just as a follow-up, have you worked with the planning team prior to coming? And the reason why I'm asking the question is because prior to us voting, the work that you have to present, this does look very similar. And so I'm trying to understand, have you tried to reach out to anyone in the planning department to get some guidance prior to coming to this case?
Absolutely. I've been working on this for months. And I've been back and forth with building and zoning. I've left emails. I've had phone calls with them. Nothing. I get nowhere. I've been up here for quite some time, a couple times, and I really don't get any direction. Even with this variance is new. It was news to me just last Thursday. So I had no idea that there was even a variance that was presented 29 years ago.
All right, any other questions from the board regarding res judicata as it applies to this case?
Madam Chair, I don't have a question. I have more of a comment that without knowing the testimony from the case before and having any of those facts, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to determine if we have a substantial change in this case. I mean, I hate to, make the Ms. Kukla and others, listen to a cassette tape. I don't even know how you're going to listen to that. If you have the ability to even play that, but I don't feel that we have enough facts.
Yeah. I fully agree with you, Ms. Roca. It's a little difficult to understand why it was denied and whether that basis is the same, here today. So I would love to get some additional information from that past meeting. I don't know if we can send out the cassette or transcript the cassette or however we would do that, but just some additional detail I think would be helpful for us to make a determination. Chief Leonard, I can see that your hand is raised. Is there more comment that you want to make?
I will state that when the case was heard, it was a 3-family dwelling unit. It has since got a CO for a 2-family dwelling unit. So I don't know if that makes a difference to your decision today, but that is a change in the amount of units on the property.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could I could pose that question to
I
the
mean, that's-
board.
That's one fact that is in favor of the appellant's case,
A change
but
circumstance.
of change circumstance, but that would be the only fact that I've heard so far.
Same.
So I mean, this is a challenging situation. I appreciate that the appellants, didn't know about this until the last minute. But we as a board need to respect, the law, and we have to show substantial change. And I don't think we have enough facts to determine that today, in my opinion.
Any other thoughts from other board members? Do we tend to agree that we need more information, or are we prepared to decide on res judicata as it stands?
I would agree with Mr. Oka that there's not enough information here.
Okay.
Madam Chair, likewise, I would agree. If there's more information, that would be beneficial.
Okay, all right, yes, and for the record, I also agree that we would love to have more information from this 1996 hearing. So I think with that being said, we would want to reset this case. We would want to hear exactly what happened in the 96 meeting and determine why it was denied so that we can actually assess whether there are changed circumstances. How much time do you think we'll need to make that happen?
And Madam Chair, of course. Madam Chair, of course, we have packed agendas. I might be able to get them on September 15th. Otherwise, it would be the 29th. And just for the record, we would have four members on the 15th as well as the 29th. So the appellant would run that risk of the tied vote.
Okay.
I mean, unless we could always put them on the 22nd. That's going to be a long day, though.
Well, let me ask you, would you take issue with your case being heard by 4 board members as opposed to 5? Or would you prefer to have all 5 members hear your case?
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then with that being said, I think we could move it to September 15th, as long as you feel that's enough time
Madam-
for you to.
Madam Chair, could you explain to the applicant the difference between 4 versus 5?
Absolutely. So with 4 members, you run the risk of having a tie vote. And if you have a tie vote, then that means your variance will be denied again. So that's why I ask, do you have a preference in terms of 4 members as opposed to 5? Because with 5, you don't run that risk of having a tie. So if we put you on September 15th, the understanding is that there's only going to be 4 members that day. So if that's a deal breaker for you, we would want to get you on a date where there's 5 members, which would be probably September, October. Oh, gosh, it's October already.
September 22nd, and then the first week in October would be the next one, will be October 6th.
October 6th. So it could be September 15th or it could be October 6th. September 15th, you'll have 4 members. October 6th, you will have the 5, the full board to hear your case.
5.
Well, are we gonna be able to see what's on those tapes before we come in as well?
Yes, we'll listen to the tapes before you come in and we'll know exactly what happened on those
Well,
tapes
how about for
before.
us as well?
So Madam Chair,
that way
if you would like to order an official transcript, we would need to push it to October 6th then. But we can, I believe that we have a court reporter that can get this get it typed up for them.
Because I understand what you guys are saying. You guys want to see what changed since '96. I'm saying to help the community, and you guys understand that part. But the law's the law.
So let me ask you this. Do you have a preference in terms of whether you yourself, as the appellants, hear or read what happened at the last hearing? Or are you okay if just the board listens to that and makes a determination?
Well, the reason why I was asking, Madam, is because if there are changes, something that might have happened in '96, why they got denied, we could say, well, this changed since '96, coming in before we come to you guys.
Understood.
We don't know what happened.
Right. So am I hearing you say that you would want transcripts of the 1996 meeting to read yourself?
Yeah. That
Okay.
would be good.
So if that is the case, then we would need to change it to October 6th instead of September 15th. And then we would order transcripts of that 96 meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
I mean, maybe nothing did change, you know, maybe we're getting transcripts and it's the same thing.
Yes,
don't-
that's
we
the
don't know,
problem. If
though.
nothing changed, then that means we have to deny your variance.
Yes.
Which is why we're trying to go through the protocols to make sure that we give you the opportunity that you deserve. So we'll order the transcripts from the 1996 hearing. The board will review those transcripts and you can review them as well. Is there a cost to the appellant for the transcripts, or how does that work in terms of them being able to review?
We will order them and cover the cost.
Okay. So you can expect to hear from our secretary so that you can review those transcripts. And when you review them, I want you to make sure that you're prepared to come in here and say, well, this is different, and this is different, because that's your burden to prove to us that things are different at this point. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so we're going to put this on October 6th. You'll hear from our secretary with the transcripts, and then we'll go from there. Chief Leonard, is that a new hand? Do you have additional comment?
No, ma'am, just waving.
Okay, hey. Okay, no problem.
Am I allowed to speak on her behalf since I won't be able to come back on October 6th?
Okay, we can take your testimony right now because you have been sworn in. State your name and give your comment.
So my name is Andrea Hudson. Like I had mentioned, so I started coming to Joe, what was it, 2020?
Yep.
Yeah, soon after you started taking kids in to watch them. So Lavinia here was one of the first little kiddos there. Make me tear up. Oh my gosh. I was very pregnant with my son at the time. So Lavinia had been to, I think, 3 other daycare centers, larger daycare centers. One we left, we moved from Pennsylvania to the Cleveland area. Another one, it was fine, wasn't great. Another one, terrible. So we did a lot of research on big centers, in-home centers, and then we landed on Joe. And the thing that I think is so special about Joe is I've been to a lot of places, right? We've seen the big centers. They're good. There's a lot of opportunity for this, that, and the other. But what you won't get there is your kid's ability just to take their shoes off and just be hugged and loved and feel like there's a family there. Even I know you're the maintenance man, but you're buddy, right? And the kids, they know him, they see his face, they know who he is. So it's just this very warm, loving family feel that I think a lot of people want for their little tiny babies when you're dropping them off. I mean, I think I gave Silas to, he was 4 weeks old.
Yeah.
Oh, my baby, right? So that was just so important to me. So I think, you know, you're going to get that. But then the other really cool thing about her center too is because I looked at a lot of other in-home daycares and like, they're just going to sit around and watch TV on the couch all day. Right? That's not what's happening there. I mean, they get their tune time. However, right? They're playing, they're outside, they're learning. She does preschool with them. Vinny was more than prepared for kindergarten. So she does a lot with them. You know, so you get that perfect combination of the things that a big center can offer, but also the feel of like an in-home daycare. She's bilingual. Right? So Vinny pretends like she can speak Spanish half the time and she can't. What else do I want to say about
She can a little, huh?
She can a little, right? Just the friendships, the relationships that she's been able to develop there with the other kids. I just think I cried when we were leaving there and moving into kindergarten. And Brianna too. I mean, she's absolutely fantastic with the kids. They love her. But so I think, you know, if you don't allow this daycare to go in, you're going to do a big disservice to the community because one, it's providing a very special kind of opportunity for parents who aren't quite wanting to put their kiddos in that big center, but they also don't want their kids just like sitting around on someone's couch all day, right? The other great thing is that she's flexible, you know, so I'm a psychologist and I run my own private practice. So I work a few days a week and she's able to accommodate that, you know, so she can see my kids, she can take care of my kids 3 days a week and then I can have the other 2 home and she's able to work with the costs and all that. You don't get that in a big center, right? It's $2,800 a month per kid, right? Full time. That's what it's going to cost you at least. So that's another really big benefit. What else did I want to say about you? There was one more thing the diversity. So that's really, really important to my family. So my kiddo is biracial. We live in Rocky River, right? It's not the most diverse place. So a lot of the centers that we were sending her to, she looks around, it's all white kids, right? And
you know, I want her to look out and I want her to see all that God created, right? And I want her to see people who look like her, who don't look like her, and I want her to experience that. And you get that at Joe's. The kids look different, they come in different shades, you know, it's beautiful and they're all welcome and they're all loved there. There was one more thing I wanted to say about you. I know.
Well, I think your point is very much well taken,
Yes,
that
yes.
this is a fantastic center. So we're going to review the record and hopefully our hands will not be tied by the 1996 decision. So again, your charge is to review those transcripts and let us know what has changed since 1996. And as long as we can find some changed circumstances, then we can move forward and consider your variance, okay?
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
The last thing I was gonna say,
Right. Yep, exactly.
the last thing I was gonna say, I don't know anything about the 30-foot rule or anything, but if it's a noise thing or a concern thing, you should see how well in line these kids go. They had a birthday party one time there for Sancho.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. All these kids who hadn't been there all year, because a lot went to kindergarten, they just line up, they get their plates, they go sit at their seats. So, I mean, they know what to expect and she does a beautiful job with them.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for those comments. We certainly appreciate your context. All right. So we'll see you all back here October 6th, and we'll hear the case at that time. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You're quite welcome. All right. So we are now going to go. There is no next case because we've heard all of the cases.
So there's still 25138, I think.
Wait, did I miss one? I did miss one. Yes, final case of the day, 25138. This is at 13404 Melzer Avenue. I do think I saw Miss Brown online. So we do have an appellant. Okay, yes, we do. All right, Ms. Hoser, can we go ahead and read the case in?
Sure thing. Our final case is calendar number 25-138. This is at 13404 Melzer Avenue. Janice Brown, owner, proposes to establish use as a residential facility for 5 occupants in an 8-on-1 family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. With that, I will hand it over to Mr. Madison for the oath.
Thank you. At this time, I'll swear you in. You're going to repeat after me, followed by I do. Say your name, state your name, as well as provide an address for the record. Mrs. Brown, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I'll turn it over to you.
I do.
And please say your name and spell your name for the record.
Janice Brown, JOHNEICE. Last name is BROWN.
And your address?
It's 13404 Melzer Avenue.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the call that would like to speak to this case? Seeing none, I'll turn it. Oh, thank you. Mr. Brown, can you please do the same? You'll reply if I do, state your name, spell your name, and also provide your address, swearing and affirming that your testimony you're about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Turn it over to you.
I do. My name is Jovan Brown. That's JOVAUGHN. My address is 6326 Golden Seaton Drive, Katy, Texas.
Thank you. Is there anyone else present online? All right, I'll turn it over to you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you for that. We do have someone as call-in user. If you are the call-in user, please press *6 to unmute yourself if you want to chime in. Just want to make sure that you have that opportunity because this is our last case of the day. And if you're not here for this one, I'm not sure which one you're here for. All right, hearing nothing, we'll go to history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that a dwelling and a garage was erected on the property in 1922. There are no variances on file for this address. And then in the more recent history in our Acelo system, we see that rental registration was issued to the property in 2017 and 2022 and 2023, as well as April of this year. And that lead safe certificate was issued to the property in April of this year as well. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Can we have legal, please?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the minimum distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
All right, thank you for that. Ms. Brown, you want to tell us about your project?
Well, I'm gonna have Jovan tell you about the project.
Okay, please go right ahead.
Yes, thank you. We plan on operating the home as a Class 2 group home facility at the property at 13404 Melzer Avenue. So we plan on having about 3 residents occupy the property. We want to bring them in and create a family style environment. We're looking for residents who may be experiencing mild mental or behavioral issues. We want to bring them in and create a family style environment and create some structure and different programs for them to be a part of and focus their energies on.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about your business plan and how you intend to operate your facility, the staffing, hours of operations, the population you intend to serve, all of that good stuff?
Yeah. So for staffing, we plan on having 2 aides in the home, one for a day shift and one for night shift. So we plan on having 24/7 care for the residents of the group home facility. We were looking to more so cater to our veteran populations. We do have some resources at the VA where we were able to, speak to a few case managers, and we think this would be a good home to occupy some of the veterans who are in need of this type of facility. I'm sorry, what was another question as well?
Your hours of operation.
Yeah, so we're looking for the residents to be able to occupy the home on a permanent basis. So I guess the hours of operation will be full-time here. Like I said, we're going to have an aide to cover the day shift, and we're going to have an aide to cover the night shift, so they'll have full 24/7 care. And we plan on the residents staying here as their permanent residents. So not really looking for this to be any transitional housing.
Okay, can you speak to the board about your experience operating a group home?
Well, I'm actually going to be new to this field. I'm actually currently in finance, but I know a bunch of operators in the Cleveland area, and I've been able to come under their mentorship. So now we were looking for my opportunity to step in and actually own and operate a property with the guidance that they've given me. So I believe this is a good time to take advantage of that opportunity.
Okay, Ms. Brown, do you want to chime in and give any comment at this time?
No, I feel like he's covered all the bases.
All right, any questions from the board?
I'll say one more thing as well.
Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that we are members of the Mount Pleasant community. We have stayed in this community for almost over 20 years, so we're familiar with the area. And I don't believe the councilwoman in Ward 4 is actually present today, but we do feel like this would be a benefit to the community because we've seen the challenges that people have faced in the community from mental health issues and behavioral issues. So we're looking to bring people in from this community and hopefully, rehabilitate them or give them any care that they may need to strengthen our community. So I just wanted to, put that out there that we are members of this community and we do care about the people that live in the area.
Okay, have you engaged with the councilwoman's office as part of this process?
Actually, I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with Ms. Gray, but I am going to be in Cleveland this week, so I was looking to set something up to actually speak to her in person.
Okay, and what about the members of the community who live near your property? Have you had an opportunity to engage with any of them?
I'll hand that over to Ms. Brown.
No, we haven't. I haven't been engaged with them, but I have had a good relationship with them for over 26 years. The ones that have been long-term within the community.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a couple here. Can you speak to maybe one, just your security plan, you know, in terms of safety, not only for those who are working with the population, but those who are in the community, all of those different things?
Yeah, so I feel like as far as security goes, we were going to have to base this off of the actual population that we select and what issues they're actually dealing with, and you know, meet with the staff to let them know what to look out for, and you know, what particular things each resident may be going through. So I believe that's going to have to be more personalized once we decide on the residents that we actually accept into the property.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, are you guys looking to acquire state licensing as well for this project?
Yes, we are.
And can you speak to maybe where you are in the process so far?
I've completed, I believe, half of the necessary courses. I'm actually taking one this week on the 14th and 15th that I believe is going to give me the remaining courses, certifications that I need for licensure. So that should be completed by the end of August.
Through you, Madam Chair, do you guys plan to distribute any medication to the individuals living on your property or residents?
At the time, no, but we like I said, that's going to have to be more personalized as we decide who we accept into the property.
And through you, Madam Chair, can you speak today if this variance is denied with practical hardship or difficulty you'll face?
Well, I feel like as current home ownership costs increase, you know, property taxes, insurance, it's no longer feasible to just rent this property out to a single family home out to just one tenant. Currently looking to do some improvements to the property as well. So with the current interest rate climate, rental income from the property just would not put us in a financially stable position with the property. So it would cause a hardship on that front.
And last question to you, Madam Chair, can you talk to just parking and the logistics of that based on the number of staff members, the people that are living there, et cetera?
Well, it's currently a two-car garage at the property and also a carport for additional parking if need be. So it's plenty of space for parking for the residents and the staff.
Thank you.
All right, can you get from
Good morning. My name's sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Roca.
Oh, no, Xavier, go ahead. I think you're probably going to speak to where the other residential facilities are.
Yep. Thank you. So as you can see on screen, let me grab this real quick so I can control the cursor. Thanks. So the blue square represented on screen is the property in question. The red rings you see on the map are the ends of the 1,000-foot buffers. And then as a centroid point of all these circles is where the existing facilities are. And so for this one, it's a little difficult to see the label kind of layered over on here, but where the hand icon is, basically where it says East 129th is where the existing facility is, which is within 1,000 feet of the proposed facility today. And with that, I'll just mention, typically with these, we recommend denial of these variances because city planning doesn't want to oversaturate residential neighborhoods with these uses as they can fall in line with more institutional uses and bring basically it doesn't bring the same character to the neighborhood as a typical residential home would. And so therefore we don't want to oversaturate neighborhoods as they will tend to become more of an institutional nature and character of a neighborhood instead of a residential character. And so we are, I will also mention, if this does get denied today, we're open to work with the applicant to assist them in navigating this zoning map on screen, which is open to the public. And or should they have an additional list of addresses of parcels that they're interested in, we can inform them if they're outside of or within these existing buffers. Thank you.
questions from the board?
I do have a question. Just to be clear, the one home, the other residence that is within the buffer is on the other side of East 131st Street?
Correct. Yep, this is Xavier Bay again, correct. The existing home is just to the right of the legend, where the label for East 129th Street is, as I'm waving a hand cursor over right now.
Okay.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, based on today's testimony, as well as the recommendation coming from City Planning, I will move to deny calendar number 25-138.
All right, is there a second?
Board Member Roca, I second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Mr. Madison,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Calendar number 25-138 is denied. This will be ratified when we meet again on August 25th, I believe it is, and we will send the appellant a letter.
Okay, all right, thank you so much. That concludes our meetings for today. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Brown, for being here. Good luck with your project. We're now going to turn to old business. Board members, we do have for ratification numbers 1, 2, 4, and 5. Any objection to any of these?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, no objection. So all of these are ratified without objection. We do have an upcoming postponement. It looks like there's a hearing scheduled for August 25th. That's going to be postponed, which I don't think we necessarily need to vote on, but just note that there is a postponement coming here. There is a request for rehearing. It looks like Daniel Kiefer has requested a rehearing of calendar number 25-078. Any objection to rehearing? I guess there are documents that have been submitted. Is there any way that we can bring those documents to the screen? Or perhaps we can just look through and take a moment. It's very, very good. Thank you so much. All right. So this looks like there is a 20 by 20 wood frame garage. Let's see. There's a second page to this. Department.
Would you like me to read the statement from the applicant?
I think that will be helpful.
Okay. This comes from Daniel Kiefer. And he had undersigned counsel respectfully moves the Board of Zoning Appeals for rehearing and reconsideration of its June 2nd, 2025 decision granting variances to DI Development LLC pursuant to the board's rules and regulations. As more fully set forth in the attached memorandum and affidavit, new circumstances exist that justify a rehearing and reconsideration of the June 2nd decision. Specifically, DI Development has performed work at its property after the issuance of the variance that is unpermitted was not included in its request for a variance and exacerbates the concerns raised by Movent Kiefer at the May 19th hearing. This work also makes the variance as granted run afoul to the purpose and intent of the city's Cleveland zoning code. Therefore, this matter should be brought for a rehearing before a BZA so that the entire scope of work performed or planned by DI Development can be discussed and considered. The applicant included the transcript, and I believe there are some photos as well. So the new information that they're arguing would bring back this case is that a new fence was installed. And the fence looks as though it was installed in front of the garage between the house and the requester's garage. So if you remember on this property, there were two houses that were being built, and one was already built by variance earlier in the year, and that's where they erected a fence along that house. I don't believe that we found any permits being issued for that fence. So the appellant does have the recourse of having an inspector go out and cite them and possibly having the fence removed or applying for the variance, because it does, from the photos, you can see the fence is very close to the subject property. It seems as though it's only 2 feet away.
I don't know if it's confused about, the variance was about a garage. Why would the fence be relevant to?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. It actually is not 2 houses. I apologize. It's the house in the front and the garage in the back. Apologize. Bring the plans. So that's correct. And the neighbor's house had the neighbor's property had the 2 houses on it. And the garage was going to be too close. If you remember, the garage was going to be too close to the rear house. And so the neighbor was very concerned about the garage being too close. So you're correct in that the issue that the board voted on was the garage. And again, the fence was not shown. I can confirm that the fence was not shown as being part of the plan. It's not as part of the plan for the single family house that was erected on it, nor the garage that came as a second variant.
Madam Chair, to Ms. Kukla, wouldn't this be a code enforcement issue and not a zoning issue, in that they built a fence they didn't have permits to build?
That's correct. Yeah, I believe so. Of course, that's up for the board to determine if this is enough information, bring them back. Yes, it seems like there is another route that they can go, as in code enforcement and having an inspector come out.
Well, I mean, bringing them back would be bringing them back for a garage, because that was the case. This is not a garage. This is a fence that was illegally built, it seems, allegedly. So I don't know how we could bring them back for a case that is on completely different facts.
Right. And that's where my confusion was as well, Ms. Roca. I just remember us having so much conversation about the garage. I'm just not sure how the fence has any bearing on the decision that we made. And I saw a comment from Chief Leonard, but I don't get to see the chat box. So can you tell us what you just said, Ms. Leonard?
Oh, that's strange. What is the address of this?
2304 West 19th Street. And this is calendar number 25-078.
We do have a response from Carolyn Downey in the law department as well.
Yes, and I was just going to raise that. And it looks like Ms. Downey has pointed out that this matter is already before the Common Pleas Court on an appeal. And her basic statement is that granting a rehearing for reconsideration would just confuse the issues. And that, she's encouraging us to basically allow this to play out in the Common Pleas Court appeal process, as opposed to granting a rehearing or reconsideration. So I think that, and coupled with the fact that the fence is the only new information, which doesn't necessarily give us one way or the other, a decision about the garage. In my mind, I think a rehearing is not warranted here. What are the thoughts of the other board members?
Madam Chair, I confirm with your statement and judgment as well. I agree.
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, I agree. We cannot rehear a case on an issue that we never heard in the first place.
Thank you, Ms. Roca. Chief Leonard, please chime in.
Yeah, so Madam Chair, there was a fence in the first permit. What did come in on July 28th was a permit request to extend the fence to and along the neighbor at 2304 West 19th. So there was a fence in the previous permit application. It just didn't extend along the side of these folks' house.
I see.
And that application came in under on July 28th, 2025, just so you're aware. So it's an extension of an existing fence permit. So the previous permit application did have the fence in the rear of the property, and they've extended it. And what looks like in these images is that they did get flagged to submit a permit for that extension running up and along the side of the property.
Well, given that change of circumstances, then I recant and change my previous statement.
The fence at this property was previously approved under building number B23024565. We are making a change and want to extend the fence along the side of the house to the front. See attached plan showing the new fence in yellow.
Okay, Ms. Roca, can you say more? How does that change your position
Well,
about?
I think, Madam Chair, what Ms. Leonard is saying is that the fence was a part of our initial hearing. Is that correct, Ms. Leonard?
I'm double checking the site plans, but it appears as that way, yes.
And if that is the case, and then there's a change in the fence, then of what we originally adjudicated, then I would support a rehearing. But I just want to confirm that that's what Ms. Leonard is saying.
Madam Chair, the plans that we have, our revised final plans, didn't show any fencing along the house at the time of our review in May.
Okay.
So it sounds like, and if I could get that permit, it sounds like it's a different permit. It's a permit number that Ms. Leonard just read. I'd have to look to see if it matches. The permit number that we are under is B240359993. Is that the number that you just read, Ms. Leonard?
Say the permit number again that you're talking about, B240359993, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, the additional permit came in so that permit came in on 12/20/24. BZA was opened on 4/23/2025, and then just on July 25th of this year, they've added an extension to an existing fence that was approved under B2302465, which is separate than what the B number that you were talking about.
Right, so we didn't have that information, and it sounds as though a variance or a notice of nonconformance should be created for that other permit, and we should see them come here for that, right?
The Building and Housing Department, under that permit, it's interesting. Give me 1 second because I need to understand the.
So I think while you look at that, I guess my concern now is the issue that the law department raised. And Mary, if you can chime in on this, that would be helpful. Does the appeal stay our ability to rehear this? Like, can we rehear and make additional decisions when this is already before the common pleas court? Mary, are you there?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, no worries. So we are handling old business. We have a matter that has, there's a request for rehearing in a particular matter, calendar number 25-078. My question is, this has been appealed. Our decision was appealed to the Court of Common Pleas and is right now being heard by the Court of Common Pleas. But at the same time, we have a request for a rehearing. So does the appeal stay our ability to hear this matter, or are we at our liberty to grant a rehearing?
No, I think it's now in the court's hands.
Okay, that was my impression as well. So thanks for confirming that. So I guess we have a choice to either deny the request based on the appeal, or we can just say that, you know, we can reserve our decision until the appeal is resolved. Right?
Yeah, well, let's see. If the court, I guess it depends what the court does here. Yeah, I guess I would just deny it for now.
Yeah, it seems that we don't have jurisdiction over this matter, given that it is in the Common Pleas Court. And if they want to circle back with another request for rehearing after the Common Pleas has made its decision, then we can consider it at
Then
that
you could
time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I guess based on that, we're going to deny the request for rehearing, given the fact that the Court of Common Pleas is examining this case on appeal. Chief Leonard, I can see that your hand is raised. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so the BZA case doesn't reference the fence, but the fence was approved under a different permit. And the new, what you're seeing come in now for 2025 is that extension, which is shown in the pictures that were shown in this case. And then there's the reason why this case is confusing is, if you remember, it's for the two houses that will be able to be built together with the shared driveway. And so there's about 4 to 6 different permit numbers that have come in associated with both of these cases. But the latest is for that fence that's being built along the sideline, which will probably end up in front of you all in the coming weeks.
Okay.
Choose to appeal it.
Okay. Understood. Thank you so much for that. Okay. Any objection to denying the request given the lack of jurisdiction based on the appeal?
No objection.
No objection.
All right. So we will deny the request for rehearing, given we do not have jurisdiction over this matter at this time. And that concludes our old business.
Oh, we did have, I'm sorry, did you speak about the 2592, calendar 2592, 360 on West Park, an upcoming postponement?
I did that. We're going to postpone it.
Okay,
We
good.
didn't
I'll
take a
pick it.
vote or anything,
Oh,
no.
all right, that's fine. I just didn't hear that part. I'm sorry. And
Okay.
so I think I had originally identified September 29th, but after today,
Been a little heavy on the 29th.
I will push them to October 6th.
Okay, very good. That sounds great. All right, it's 12:12 and we will officially adjourn. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.